This presentation is about Auckland Council's proposed annual plan for 2026-2027. We publish a new long-term plan every 3 years. In all other years, we publish an annual plan. An annual plan sets out what the Council seeks to achieve in a financial year, the services we will provide, how much money will be spent, and where that money will come from. Auckland Council's Annual Plan 2026-2027 consultation will get underway in February 2026, with the plan to take effect on the 1st of July 2026. The annual plan also includes a local board agreement for each of our 21 local boards. Our annual plan for 2026 to 2027 focuses on getting on with the commitments made in our long-term plan 2024 to 2034, also known as our LTP. Overall, we're focused on delivering the long-term vision of the Council, which is to create an Auckland that is beautiful, thriving and safe. We'll do this by delivering the improvements to financial and physical resilience committed to in our LTP, while building a more efficient Council focused on value for money for Aucklanders. For 2026 to 2027, our plan prioritises investment in transport, water, and enabling local boards to respond to their community's needs. A major highlight is the expected opening of the City Rail Link, or the CRL. This will transform Auckland's public transport and also bring economic and environmental benefits to Auckland. The ownership and operating costs of the CRL, the bulk of which is interest and depreciation costs for the Council's share of the CRL, are the main reason for a planned 7.9% rates increase for an average value residential property. Although the overall rates increase is higher than we would like, our focus on saving money and running Auckland Council Group efficiently has helped keep the increase lower than it would otherwise have been. Our plan sets out that we will spend $3.9 billion on major building and infrastructure projects across Auckland, like roads, public transport, parks, and community facilities. We'll also fund $5.3 billion for essential services and activities that Aucklanders use every day. Our consultation document and accompanying supporting information details the services and activities for each of 7 investment areas of the Council. As mentioned, a big focus is on transport, water, and community services. But there are a very wide range of activities and services across other areas. These include investing in infrastructure to support housing programs, advancing the Making Space for Water program that aims to reduce, avoid, and raise awareness of flood risks, progressing city centre regeneration and urban development programs, protecting our forests and waterways, continuing to deliver services that strengthen our local communities, events and activities to attract businesses and visitors to the region, and expanding of our network of recycling centres in the community. The consultation information also details the major projects that we will progress or complete in 2026-2027. A major highlight of the annual plan is the City Rail Link, or the CRL. After nearly 10 years of construction, Auckland CRL will open in 2026, bringing transport, economic and environmental benefits to Auckland. New world-class stations, increased train frequency and improved access will encourage growth in jobs and help reinvigorate Auckland. The ownership and net operating costs for the CRL. The ownership and net operating costs for the CRL are projected to be $235 million per year. This includes Auckland Transport's $26 million net operating costs for running additional stations and services. The ownership and net operating costs for the CRL are projected to be $235 million per year. This includes Auckland Transport's $26 million net operating costs for running additional stations and services, plus interest, $167 million, and depreciation funding requirement, $42 million. The ownership and operating costs of the CRL are the main reason for a planned 7.9% rates increase for an average value residential property. In our annual plan, we are also continuing to invest in local boards, which are responsible for services that strengthen communities in their area. These services include parks, libraries, pools, arts, recreation centres, community halls, programs and events, as well as support for local community groups and environmental initiatives. Local boards will decide which activities and services to focus on in their area based on the funding available, including an extra $15 million of operating funding in 2026-2027. The consultation document sets out a plan for each of the local boards. They will make decisions on the activities and services provided in their local area within the available funding. This could involve reprioritizing spend to address the growing costs of running community facilities, or introducing a local services targeted rate to maintain service levels. Where these changes might result in significant service level impacts, the governing body has options to assist with funding issues, and this will be considered before any final decisions are made. Your feedback will help local boards make informed decisions about where to prioritize funding. In this annual plan, the Council continues to focus on delivering its savings targets, which are $106 million for the year. That has helped keep the rates increase much lower than what it would otherwise have been. We'll also continue to carefully manage debt. The Council funds long-term infrastructure assets such as pipes, roads, and libraries by utilising debt to spread costs across the generations that use them. The Council's financial strategy includes limits on borrowing and states that group debt remains below 270% of group revenue, with a target of being below 250%. In 2026-2027, it is projected to be well below that at 225%. An overall rates increase of 7.9% is planned for the average value residential property. This is the same as what was agreed for 2026 to 2027 in the LTP, and is mainly due to the $235 million yearly cost to run and own the City Rail link. The bulk of this is interest and depreciation costs for the Council's ownership share of the CRL. For the average value residential property, the 7.9% rates increase equals around $320 a year or $6.16 a week. Not everyone will have the same increase. Rates vary based on the capital value of each property and the classification of a property: residential and business, either urban or rural, and farm or lifestyle. Individual properties might also be subject to specific targeted rates, which could impact the overall rates change. If you want to know the rates for a specific property, there is an online rates guide on the Council website that provides estimated rates for each property in Auckland. So, while we aren't raising any big new issues in the annual plan, there is still plenty to have your say on. Our consultation document includes a feedback form with some specific questions for you to consider. It's in 2 sections. First, we have 4 questions about the annual plan. Then, we have 2 further questions about Auckland's longer-term future. All questions are optional. You can answer all or any. The first question is about the overall plan. This is where you can give feedback about the proposed overall rates increase in our investment priorities. Question 2 is about changes to other rates, fees, and charges. These include changes to the Waitakere Rural Sewerage Scheme and the Rodney and Te Arai District Drainage Schemes. They also include adjusting some fees and charges for services in line with inflation and other area-specific services such as residential parking permits operated by Auckland Transport. Question 3 is about local board priorities and options. Question 4 is where you can give feedback on any other aspect of the annual plan, including the Tupuna Maunga Authority operational plan. We also want your feedback on longer-term priorities that will help shape the city over time. We're planning some discussions for next year, that's 2027, to inform plans and strategies to shape Auckland's future. These include, but aren't limited to, regional transport plans, water service strategies, Auckland's spatial plan, and our 2027 to 2037 long-term plan, which sets funding for a range of regional and local priorities listed. To help inform that, the Mayor and Councillors are asking all Aucklanders about priorities and potential trade-offs for that planning. We'll continue to invest and deliver services and activities across a range of areas, but we want to understand your priorities. So, we're asking which type or area of investment you think we should prioritise. And we'd like you to consider any specific activities and services you think should be most prioritised. We also want your feedback on the future of Auckland's city centre. This is the economic heart of the region, producing about 1/5 of Auckland's total economic output. We want to make city centre public spaces work better for people, get more value from major investments in transport, and make sure council support helps the city centre thrive as a place to live, work, study and visit. So we're interested in your feedback about which investments should be prioritised in the city centre. So that's what we're consulting on, and our consultation runs from the 27th of February to the 29th of March 2026. You're welcome to provide us with your feedback about our proposals within these dates. The governing body and local boards will consider your feedback and then adopt the final annual plan in late June. There are plenty of ways to have your say. You can go online, you can visit a library for further information, or you can phone us. Thanks in advance for having your say on our annual plan. We're getting on with it, but there is much more to do.